including the rampant alcoholism, gambling, and hedonism, were symptoms of a society that had lost its moral center. Social and political institutions of the era. The excesses of the Jazz Age, including the rampant alcoholism, gambling, and hedonism, were symptoms of a society that had lost its moral center. Interestingly, the Valley of Ashes is not the only symbol of decline in The Great Gatsby. As we reflect on the symbolism of the Valley of Ashes, it is important to consider our own society and the issues we face today. We must ask ourselves, what symbols represent the decline of our own raw values and the destruction of our natural environment? Are there social and economic divides that continue to exist in our society, and how can we work to bridge them? Raw values and the destruction of our natural environment? Are there social and economic divides that continue to exist in our society, and how can we work to bridge them? Like Fitzgerald, we must be keen observers of the world around us, and strive to create a more just and equitable society. We must recognize the warning signs of moral decay and environmental destruct. On and take action to address them. On and take action to address them. The Valley of Ashes reminds us that the consequences of inaction can be devastating, but it also offers hope for a better future. Despite the bleakness of the valley, there are characters in the gray. Gatsby who embody values of compassion, integrity, and resilience. These characters offer a glimmer of hope in a world that seems otherwise lost. Gatsby who embody values of compassion, integrity, and resilience. These characters offer a glimmer of hope in a world that seems otherwise lost. As we contemplate the Valley of Ashes and its many meanings, we must remember that symbols are only as powerful as the actions we take to address the issues they represent. We must strive to create a society that values justice, equality, and environmental sustainability, and work towards that goal every day. Society that values justice, equality, and environmental sustainability, and work towards that goal every day. In the end, the Valley of Ashes is not only a symbol of decline but also a call to action. It challenges us to confront the issues facing our society and to work towards a better future for all. Fitzgerald's use of vivid imagery to describe the Valley of Ashes leaves a lasting impression on readers. The desolation and despair that are felt when the area is described contribute to the powerful symbolism that it represents. The vivid depiction of the ash covering everything creates an unforgettable image that shows the destructive nature of industrialization. The ash is a representation of symbolism that it represents. The vivid depiction of the ash covering everything creates an unforgettable image that shows the destructive nature of industrialization. The ash is a representation of the environmental destruction that industrialization has caused and continues to cause. Fitzgerald's critique of American society in the 1920s remains relevant today. The issues he raises in The Great Gatsby are still present in society today. Division between the rich and poor still exists, and environmental damage continues to persist. The call to action that the Valley of Ashes represents is one that we need to hear and act upon. Exists, and environmental damage continues to persist. The call to action that the Valley of Ashes represents is one that we need to hear and act upon. As a society, we must work to address the issues that lead to inequality and environmental destruction. We need to strive for a society that values compassion, integrity, and the natural world. This Ian's rethinking the way we approach economic progress, prioritizing sustainability rather than profit. Ian's rethinking the way we approach economic progress, prioritizing sustainability rather than profit. As we face the global challenges of climate change, economic inequality, and social unrest, the symbolism of the Valley of Ashes remains as relevant as ever. The novel's message of hope for a better future through hard work and dedication is one that we should take to heart. We have the power to make a positive change and create a world that is worthy of the American dream. Future through hard work and dedication is one that we should take to heart. We have the power to make a positive change and create a world that is worthy of the American dream. This is a pressing issue that needs to be addressed urgently. We cannot afford to ignore the warning signs of moral decay and environmental destruction any longer. The symbolism of the Valley of Ash.